friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks workshop on this Monday morning, having the weekend to think about all the issues in the world, and with the President of the United States saying that they are cautioning against all international travel and they don't see a real end in sight for that. Obviously, that leaves me with the tough decision to cancel the Scotland trip. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be canceling it. I am sorry that the Rosa curse had to affect the whole world. No, I don't really believe that, but on the other hand, you gotta wonder. I'm not making fun of the situation. I'm just laughing to keep from crying. I'm into this trip very deep, very deep. The airline tickets alone, I think I'm into it for around $8,000, not to mention all the places to stay and the car rentals and the additional vacationing that we were going to do afterwards, which obviously doesn't count toward the gig part, but anyway. So I'm into it very deep. Chances are I will probably get less than half my money back. The airline companies kind of feel like it's already their money, even though they haven't provided any service for it, but they believe it's theirs. So who knows how much I'll get back. I've already received at least one comment from a viewer that wanted their money back on the Scotland thing, and I will be sure to send everybody's money back. If for some reason you don't want yours back and you just want to donate it to the channel, certainly, obviously, I would appreciate that, but just let me know that in an email, if you would, rosastringworks@gmail.com. I would appreciate that, because I will put Melissa on the refunds in the next few days, and she will be issuing the refunds to everyone. The other thing is PayPal doesn't refund anything either. And by the way, just so you understand, PayPal keeps 3% on domestic charges, and they keep about 4% on international charges, roughly. So, they don't give back their 3 to 4% that they took out of my payment. And, I give back the whole payment. PayPal just gets rich, that's all. So I think that kind of sucks too. They used to refund their portion, but they don't anymore. Greed is a very powerful motivator. But I am very, very sorry that we're having to cancel that. I do not expect to reschedule it, mainly because it was just crazy expensive, and I probably won't do it again. Not unless one of you rich investors out there wants to fund it. If you guys want to fund it, we'll be there. That brings me to viewer mail, questions, comments, compliments, etc. Got quite a few of them here. Matter of fact, I've got a bunch of them here. So let's try to go through this as quick as we can. This first one is from Ron Holt, and this was just one of the comments in the comments section of one of the videos, but I thought it was nice, and the way he said it was very nice, so I thought I'd read it to you. It says, if you follow this channel and you own a mandolin, I recommend getting one of Jerry's mandolin saddles. I ordered one for my Weber mandolin, and it totally transformed the volume, punch, and sustain. It now sounds like a mandolin that would cost thousands more. Best $39 I ever spent. So that was from Ron. Thank you, Ron. I appreciate that. The next one is from Ken, and that's all I have is just a first name. And Ken's question is, what method of payment do we accept on the website there for buying the saddles and things like that? And for anything else that's on there for that matter. And basically, almost any method of credit card payment will work. PayPal handles all that, and even if you don't have a PayPal account, you can pay via almost any credit card on PayPal, as far as I know. The additional thing that Ken says is, P.S. Thank you so much for your videos. I am almost there with my first mandolin build. Phew, I couldn't have done it without you, but I am hooked. So congratulations, Ken, on your mandolin build. The next one is from Paul Kelly, and Paul is in the UK. I have two things from Paul. The first thing was, would really love to try one of your deer antler saddles. Is there any possibility you would ship it to the UK? Well, basically, Paul, and for the rest of you, I ship them anywhere. I just ship them via U.S. mail, which is snail mail, and it's going to take a while to get to various places. So keep that in mind, but I will just ship them for the same cost. I lose a little bit, on some of the international shipping, but not too bad. The next one from Paul says, I just received the saddle this morning and just finished fitting it. It has really improved the tone of my mandolin. Only took a week to get here. The downside is that they stung me for duty and VAT, but honestly, it was well worth it, he says. The next one is from BJ Feather. BJ is 70 years old. He says, I just ordered your Mandolin Nashville number system course. I am brand new to the mandolin and a senior citizen. After watching your YouTube video on the Nashville number system, I was hooked. He says, I just hope you can find the time to post a video on improvising and playing lead or offer a course in the near future. Well, BJ, I have actually started that playing lead video, and I just haven't been able to get back to it. I started it a couple of years ago, actually. Then the YouTube thing just snowballed on me over the last couple of years. It actually caught me off guard how busy I got. And thank goodness for Melissa. So she's working on, keeping a lot of that stuff away from me now. And hopefully maybe I can get back to the lead playing on the mandolin. It would be wonderful, but don't expect it anytime soon because I still have a huge backlog. And by the way, speaking of the backlog, I really am still turning away all new business except for what walks through the door. So if you're in the local area and you walk it through the door, I will accept it still, but that's the only work I'm accepting. Other than new custom builds. I mean, if you call me and you say you want to have me build a custom mandolin or a custom guitar, I will put you on the waiting list for those. But I am behind on those as well. It's just not easy being me. That's what my t-shirt says, so I know it's true. Got another one here from Gary Kelsey. And Gary says, congratulations on your 40,000 subscribers. With your help, I have completed my first restoration of an instrument. I'm now into my third, and I've even replaced a neck on a 3/4 size fiddle. So he's showing pictures of what he's done. Gary, by the way, is from Ontario, Canada. Let me see if I can find his photographs here. There's a before picture, and you probably can't tell a whole lot about that, and especially with the darn light glaring on it. I'm trying to turn it where you won't see the light. There you go. But that's a before picture. Here's the after picture. And it looks wonderful. So Gary, congratulations on your projects there. And I'm glad I was some help there to inspire you to do that and get into this. I get these kinds of emails all the time about, people always ask me, why don't you have an apprentice? I always say, I've got 40,000. So there you go. Here's a question from a viewer. And he's in Slovenia, and his name is Milos. He said, we spoke a few months ago. I ordered a Richwood F mandolin from China. I'm very happy with the mandolin, but one thing bothering me, and that is, the F holes don't seem to be lined up right, and the bridge doesn't line up with the F holes, is really what he's talking about. There's a close-up of it. And you can see the bridge goes, kind of at that F hole there, but it goes below the point of this one here. Now, I see two things on this, and he confirmed what I was seeing in the photograph. Keep in mind, the picture's canted a little bit. It's not perfectly square. So that makes it a little difficult. But I said, based on what I can see, it looks to me like that F hole on the treble side is actually cut a little more toward the neck than the other one is. And he confirmed that it was. And he also confirmed that the bridge is slightly, canted also, backwards from the norm. But he said it needs to be that way for the intonation. And that's fine. I do see that occasionally. It's not the norm, but that does happen occasionally. But anyway, my point is to address this, you'd be surprised. That's not that uncommon. Sometimes they just don't line up with F holes. The F hole is just kind of a rule of thumb, or the old. It's not. I wouldn't call it a wives' tale exactly, but it's a little bit like that. It's just kind of a rule of thumb that it should be in approximately that area. You really want your intonation to be set by your tuning. That's the only way to know that your intonation is correct. And basically, you tune it open to the note, then you note it at the 12th fret, and it doesn't matter what you're talking about. You could be talking about a mandolin or a banjo or a guitar, anything that's got frets. So you note it open, you note it at the 12th fret. When you note it at the 12th fret, if it's sharp, that means the distance between the 12th fret and your bridge is too short. If it's sharp, I consider that short. So you need to push it back a little bit. If you note it at the 12th fret and between the 12th fret and the bridge it's flat, then your bridge is too far back. Flat is far back, short is sharp. That's the way I remember it. Your bridge is too far back, move it a little closer. And then, a lot of people feel like they have to chime it as well. But basically, if you get those two things right, your chime is going to be fine. So, people always get on me and they say, you didn't chime it. I do chime them. I do occasionally chime them. But pretty much, if you get those two things right, your chime is perfect. So that's what you're doing it for, is to set the intonation, and your chime is part of that intonation. So, those two things are your most important thing. The chime is kind of icing on the cake, if you will. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say chime it, at your 12th fret, if you just kind of pick the note and kind of touch it at the 12th fret and remove your finger at the same exact time, it will chime, and it sounds different than a normal note. It sounds like a chime. I don't know how to explain it any different, but that's basically what you do. And you do that touch at the 12th fret. Maybe there's someone out there on YouTube that can explain the chime better. But that's how I explain it. This note is from Rick Saunders. And Rick says, my compliment since I discovered your YouTube is that I'm leaving chores undone. He says, I will sit down to watch one video and then 3 hours later I pull myself away. Your videos both teach and entertain. I feel this in a way is the ultimate compliment. He's complimentary, and then he goes on a little bit further and he asks a question. I'm left-handed and wondered if the construction of a left-handed instrument is any different, or does it present any challenges? Well, yes, they are different. The right-handed F-style mandolins that I build have their bracing and the F-holes and everything all set for that right hand. It would be the mirror image, obviously, if you switch it around. And it's not just as simple as flipping it over. The bracing on the bass bar side and the bracing on the treble side is slightly different canted angles, and so you'd have to reverse those canted angles when you switch everything over. So everything basically is just a mirror image. By the way, the mirror image would be the same on the guitar too. All the bracing in the top of the guitar would be reversed. Now the bracing on the back, probably not much different, because mostly that's just ladder bracing. There could be some instances where there might be differences there too, but for the most part, your main differences is in how your top is constructed. And then he asked the question, does it present any additional problems? Well, it doesn't really. You could just as easily build a left-handed or a right-handed. The biggest difference or the biggest problem is just remembering through the whole process that you're building a left-handed instrument, and that you don't unreverse something, and you don't make it right-handed when it should have been left-handed. That's the only problem it presents, is just keeping it in your head during the whole build. Have I ever built a complete left-handed instrument? I'm trying to remember. I don't think so. No, I don't think I have from scratch. I've worked on a few, and even working on them, you have to kind of keep that in mind. So good questions there, Rick. Got one here from Carl Johnson. He says, first, I love watching your videos. I have a cheap A-style mandolin, have not played in years. Last year I got hurt at work and ended up taking early retirement. Anyway, while hurt at home, started surfing the web and came across your YouTube videos. Well, that led me to getting the mandolin out and starting to learn and play again. Now I would like to build an F-style mandolin myself. I would like to find plans for a lower, and I've heard that the elderly plans come closest to it. Well, I've actually looked at some of those different plans. I've seen lots of plans actually, and lots of plans that claim to be the exact lower specs. They don't match my patterns exactly. They come very close in many cases. And I took mine directly off of a lower. It was a 24 lower, signed lower, by the way, and one of the loudest ones ever. And so all of my measurements and my thicknesses, everything came directly off of that particular mandolin. And that's what I use. So I can't really speak to which one is the closest in general. I do know that like the Siminoff book that you can get from Stuart McDonald is very helpful. That's how I got started from the very beginning. Was I bought the original Siminoff book. I read it cover to cover 8 times before I even attempted to buy a piece of wood, let alone start building. And once I understood the book thoroughly, then I started buying my parts and doing it, and I've been doing it ever since. So I do recommend the Siminoff book. I don't know about the Elderly Plans, to be perfectly honest with you. If I knew, I'd tell you. So good luck to you. Just one more apprentice here. The next note is from Ron Hezel, or Hezel, Hezel. John says, watching one of your YouTube videos where you were lamenting on finding heavier razor blades. He did some surfing and he found some heavier razor blades that are 12/1000ths of an inch thick. So these are heavy duty, and I appreciate that very much, John. And I will add these to my little collection here, and I am sure they will get put to very good use. So, John, thank you very kindly. I really do appreciate that. John goes on to say, thanks again for all your videos. I am subscribed, and I always thumbs up. Thank you, John. Our last one. And as the old Johnny Carson skit, there would be tons of applause right now because we're on the last one that Karnak would read, remember? I know, I'm dating myself, forget it. Never mind, but we're on the last one anyway. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Rihanna Lloyd. Today I'm watching one of your YouTube videos on building a mandolin, and at the end you had a customized truss rod cover that I absolutely loved. I am new to playing mandolin, and a few weeks ago I was wondering if that piece could be changed, but did not know the name of it. I was wondering if you could make me one with a cross in it. Well, I definitely could make these things, especially now with the laser cutter. I am not getting into that market yet because, again, I'm so far behind, I can't keep up as it is. I would love to help you out, but I'm just going to decline the offer right now because I just can't keep up. Eventually maybe I can have Melissa trained to do those kinds of things, but she's pretty busy too. Seriously, I was doing 2 or 3 full-time jobs before she got here. Now I'm still doing 2 full-time jobs, in my opinion. It's just that they're on different things. I'm getting work done now, hopefully, in addition to making videos. Well, that's about the end of it. Thank you all for listening to me. Sorry about the Scotland gig being canceled. I promise you, you will get your money back, whether I get mine back or not. Have a great day.